Explain to our international viewers who might not be familiar with Johnny Hallyday just how big he was. He was called the biggest rock star you've never heard of.
Exactly, and we keep hearing that term as well as the French Elvis, and that he was a monument of French rock and roll, an icon, and he really was. He sold over 110 million albums during a career that spanned over half a century, 57 years. He started out in 1960. He made 80 studio and live albums, 18 of which went platinum. He topped the charts more than 30 times, sold out massive stadiums. And, you know, just to give you an idea of just how big he was, especially back in the day, in 1966 at the iconic music hall here in Paris, the Olympia, Jimi Hendrix was his support act. So Jimi Hendrix opened for Johnny Hallyday. And as you said, he was virtually unknown outside of Francophone countries, unlike other Gallic stars who managed to crack the US. Johnny Hallyday never quite made it big overseas in the US. But he was really important on the French music scene because he introduced rock and roll rather to French audiences in French. So he was the first one to do that, and he broke from the chanson française tradition that was, you know, popular at the time, and made this groundbreaking genre, rock and roll, this new genre of music, popular in France. And his 1961 cover of Let's Twist Again topped the charts across Europe. So he was huge. I mean, we can't say it enough.
Richelle, as you were speaking, we saw behind you some of Johnny's fans there in the front row at one of his concerts. And people loved Johnny. I mean, we've been hearing today, people are saying it was like he was part of my family. Tell us a bit more about Johnny's personal life, what the man was like off stage.
Well, he made the covers of so many celebrity magazines because he obviously has been in the spotlight for so many decades. He led this really rock and roll lifestyle. He was the quintessential rock star. He had a lot of ups and downs in his life. He battled depression. He attempted suicide at one point. He took drugs. There was drinking. He had 5 marriages to 4 different women. So he had some problems with tax here in France. He had a botched operation. So a lot of ups and downs in his life, but it was this fragility that appealed to French music lovers, to French audiences, and he always bounced back. And I think that's why he was this upheld as this hero here in France, and you know, he became known for his trademark epic stage shows. They said he was an animal on stage. I mean, I never had the chance to see him live, but you know, he was known for these massive stadium shows, effects, stunts. I mean, he would come in on stage on a helicopter. I mean, it was crazy, and he was a hard worker. He was recording albums as recently as, I mean, the latest studio album, I should say, came out in 2015, De l'Amour, and he was still touring up until quite recently. So he was, a giant of French music and of French rock and roll.
Indeed. I had a chance to see Johnny in concert.
Did you?
I can say very impressive. I'm not a huge fan, I have to admit, but so impressive on stage and a truly quintessential performer.
Right. And an amazing voice. I mean, whether you like his music or not, we can all appreciate that unmistakable voice.
Indeed.
That gruff Johnny Hallyday voice.
Richelle, thank you so much
Thanks,
for that.
Jeannie.
Richelle Harrison Plesse there, our culture editor here on France 24.